So, the funny thing about this episode, or the interesting thing, because you're not going to laugh when you hear this, is that I had recorded this episode early week of August. August was a pretty special month for me, and I just felt like I feel like this is something that I need to talk about, and I would love to, of course, share it with my listeners, tell them how I feel about it, and how much I feel that it impacts an individual's journey towards self growth. So I did record it and I forgot about it because, as I've said, I was going through a reflective period, just sitting down thinking about, how my year has been so far, of which my year had not been good up to that point, and just the direction that I wanted to take, how I want it to flow, how I want myself to flow. So, pretty much my mind was just filled with so many other things, and I forgot about it. So, somewhere in the third week of August, I remembered that, oh, I haven't posted an episode because I was looking through the socials for my for the podcast, and I realized it's been dormant for a while. So I went back to my files, I found the audio, and I was listening to it, and I did not like it. I did not like it one bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to pressure myself. I will scrap this off, sit down, do my research again, write down pointers that I want to focus on, and then record it when time is ready. And here I am, the second day of September, recording the episode. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like it. Let's get straight into it. And as usual, if you have anything to add on to it, be sure to comment down on our listening platforms. There's always a comment section that's available. Comment on our social media platforms what you think about it. And of course, I will be sure to respond to your thoughts and also reshare your thoughts with other followers. So, the topic of discussion is mentality shift. What is mentality shift? The power that mentality shift has on our journey towards self discovery or self growth and everything. And also, cultivating a mentality shift, overcoming the challenges that are likely to come about during this journey, and just how you can face all of this. So, the first thing is, what is mentality shift? And I feel like whenever we want to, we always have that moment. Change is inevitable, it's something that occurs to us as human beings. And there usually comes a point in someone's life where you're like, okay, you reflect maybe on the past couple of days, past couple of years, past couple of months, and you're like, you know what? I don't like how it has been, and I feel like I need to change this. But then you find that you're having a hard time adjusting to what you have built in your mind, and you go back to your old ways. So that's where mentality shift comes to play. So, mentality shift, basically, just from the research that I've done, it involves reframing the way we think about our lives and our goals. It involves reframing the way we think about our lives and our goals. And in order to achieve these set individual goals or this journey that you're into, you must first change your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And I say this because at times you want to you maybe woke up twice in a week accidentally, and you notice that when I wake up early, I am able to do more and have extra time to do extra work. And you're like, okay, I should probably adopt this. But then at the back of your mind, anytime the alarm goes off, you're like, oh, it's too early. I can still manage to do these things in 30 minutes, in 20 minutes. And you've proved yourself time and time again that it is impossible. But every single time, you keep convincing yourself that, no, this time I'm going to make it. This time I'm going to do it. It's something so simple. And I've used a very common example because You don't know it, but what is required of you is to have that mentality shift. You need to change your thinking to know, I have done this a number of times and I have proved to myself that I am not able to do it in 30 minutes. And so waking up an hour early or 2 hours early from my scheduled time is definitely going to change. It's going to impact a lot in how I am able to plan my tasks for the day, how I'm able to allocate time for the tasks of the day, and how my day is likely to continue till the end. So it's something very simple, and we like to think of it like that. But training yourself to accepting this change is where now the challenge comes into being, because as human beings we are beings of habit. Habit is what makes us develop our characteristics. It's what makes us develop our day-to-day activities and how we flow and everything. So when you want to change from something that you're so used to doing and now you want to adopt a new way of doing things, that can be difficult. It is bound to come with challenges, and those challenges are the things that keep on holding us back, because you're so used to this habit that it has become your comfort zone, if I may put it like that. And now you don't want to get out of your comfort zone. But in order for you to attract growth or to be this better person, you need to get out of your comfort zone. And mentalities they hold a lot of power. How we think about situations, how we think about ourselves, they have a lot of power. Take this for example. If as an individual, you know that what I have put on, I'm trying to use the most common examples that are out there. When you as an individual, you are confident in whatever you've worn. You look at yourself in the mirror, you're comfortable with it, you like how the colors maybe correspond with each other, you like how the cloth is fitting, you like how the color is blending with your own skin color. When you go outside, even if you meet one person, two-person who says that they don't like that outfit, it's very difficult for that negative um for that negative for that negative sentence to make you feel like, okay, maybe I don't like this as well. But if you put on an outfit and you're 50-50 about it, you're like, do I look nice? Is it really like looking good on me? Is this color right? Are these colors mixing okay? When you go outside and you meet someone who gives you half a compliment, they have immediately shifted your mind from being 50-50 to now leaning more towards the negative side. And now you're completely convinced that, okay, this outfit is not good. That's how much mentalities have power. So this power that they hold, it moves to greater things, such as like, how can I be a better version of myself? Your mentality is what steers you towards that direction. And until you are able to shift this and you're able to fine tune it to what you want to go to what you want to be, to focus on your clear path of where you want to lead and where you want to end up in, you will forever keep on coming up with plans, and you will forever not be able to execute these plans and be this better person that you want to be. So the first point, and I was just rambling and I'm sorry for the ramble. The first point of the power of mentality shift and in self-discovery, because as I have said, as humans, we change is inevitable. The things that you probably liked, assuming now you're probably 30 years or you're 20 years, and let's take it in a relationship setup, okay? The things that as a man or as a woman you could tolerate in the relationships that you had when you were 18, when you were 19, when you were in your 20s, right now in your 30s, let's say you haven't found a mate yet, you're in the process of looking for that mate, you're in the process of dating, there are certain things that you cannot tolerate. And at times you sit down and you're like, wait, like, How is it that my exes, I was able to stay with them, and like two of them had this quality, and right now I cannot stand this quality? It's because you have evolved. Your taste has been fine tuned. And that is the same way that you need to fine tune your taste when it comes to the goals that you want to achieve. So the first point is, it makes you gain an understanding of the things that you want to focus on and the things that you want to ignore. And this now comes down to the practices that we have on our day to day life. You are maybe looking at dedicating, you probably have a 9 to 5 job. Okay, you work 9 to 5. And you are at that point where you feel like, okay, I have been at this 9 to 5 and I have been here for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or whatever. And I have this desire to start something of my own. It could be a side hustle, it could be a podcast, for instance, like what I am doing right now. And you've come up with a plan, okay? But then you find that after your 9 to 5, you have these other activities that may or may not be important. Okay. But then you have this goal that keeps hitting you at the back of your head. You need to start a side hustle. You need to do a side hustle, especially with the tough economic times that are existing right now. And I'm using, as I've said, I'm using common examples. With the tough economic times, they're like, no, I need something else that's going to add on to what I am earning. But there are these other activities that you have. You probably have this routine where there's a program that comes in from like 6. So when you get out of work at 5, it's like it's an hour's drive from your place of work to your home, whether you're using public transport or you're driving yourself. And then this 6 to 7, it's just watching this program. And then 7 to 7:30, you're probably preparing your meal and whatever, and then you eat and then you go to sleep. And this thought of I need to start a side hustle, it's constantly knocking at the back of your head. And you're looking at yourself and at your schedule, and the 9 to 5, it's already occupied by your job, and you're trying to find something somewhere in this time frame where you can sneak in your desire to work on this goal that is constantly knocking your head so that you're able to achieve it. So when you do a mentality shift and you're like, I need this, I need to focus on this, because the end goal of me starting a side hustle is me getting more income. It's going to be equal to me changing my status quo. It's going to be equal to a lifelong of maybe self-establishing myself, and hopefully even moving out of the employment sector to being now someone who manages your own business. Then you sit down and you look at your time. And from looking at your time, you realize, okay, I could either wake up early and work on this plan and set it up and have it up and running, or I could eliminate some of these activities that I do when I'm out of work so that I can focus on this. It sounds mean. It's like, it sounds to some people, it's like, oh, the common phrase is unajinyima and all that. But then who has ever succeeded without having to sacrifice or without having to compromise? Let me use the term compromise. There are certain sacrifices or compromises that as a human being you can be able to live with. If you compromise watching a program, I assure you can be able to live with it. That one, I can assure you can be able to live with it. If you maybe minus some of the expenses that you have in your budget so that you can redirect this money towards saving to start this business that you want, I can assure you, once you started this business and it's 2-3 months in and you're seeing the profits pouring in, you won't even remember that there were some things ulikuwa unajinyima. And this takes me back to Reddit. There's a lady who shared her story, and she was like, I lived a pretty frugal life in my 20s. And at her 30-year-old, because she was 30 years by the time she was sharing this information, this is just this year, she was saying that the company that she was working on, they decided to move out of the country because of the economic times and whatever. We don't know whether that's just corporate excuse or if it's genuine, but she said that's what they said. But even when she no longer had this monthly stipend from the company, she says that due to how she lived her frugal life, she has like 2 3 other sources of income that generate that on a monthly basis. If it's at a constant, they're likely to generate her more money than what she was earning at where she was working. And where she was working, she wasn't earning peanuts because she had climbed the ladder, so she was earning good money. And that's just what I'm saying. The power of mentality shift, it makes you gain an understanding of the things that you want to focus on and the things that you want to ignore. So the point number 2, it's going to change what goals you pursue and in what order. It starts giving you a clear perspective of, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 goals. How do I arrange these goals in chronological order? What is more important to me? Do I want to go back to school and get that diploma, get that certificate so that it can continue complementing my work? Or do I learn another language? Or do I start another business? Or do I start building my retirement home? Once you have that mentality shift of I want to change my direction as a human, you're able to change what goals you want to pursue and in what order. Okay, it's going to change the actions you consider. This one goes hand in hand with the previous point, which it's going to change what goals you pursue and in what order, because the goals that you pursue automatically determine which actions you're going to take so that you can be able to achieve these goals. It's going to alter your identity. Of course, it will alter your identity, because once you've identified, okay, what are the actions that I want to focus on and what are these actions that I want to ignore, already there's a part of you that is giving up certain habits that you are doing. And most probably, when you give up these habits, you also give up the people who would encourage you to partake in these habits, or you give up the things that would drive you towards doing these habits that you want to live. It makes you have, it's going to change what goals you pursue and what you don't. It changes you. It alters your identity. That's why you meet someone and you probably were high school mates or whatever, and they probably were the class clown, and you meet them later on, like 10 years later or 5 years later, and this person is no longer the clown that you used to know. This person is all this serious corporate looking type of person. I'm using corporate because it's the most common example. You meet people who they were maybe extremely focused on academics and all that, and now you meet them and you find that their identities have shifted from being this extremely focused on academics, and now they like co-curricular activities and things like that. Okay, so it alters your identity. That is a definite. So the third thing is, how do you cultivate a mentality shift? The first thing, reflect on your current beliefs and thought patterns. And that's what I was telling you. To me, August was a reflecting month. I've had a very hard couple of months, and I will share this with you, of course, in due time when I feel like I'm ready to talk about it. And so I was reflecting on how have these couple of months been? What has shifted in my life in this couple of months? This sudden shift, what sudden decisions has it led me to take? And are these sudden decisions working out for me? Or do I need to sit down and alter? And what are some of the choices that I've made? Some of the choices that I've made, to some people, they may sound selfish, but to me, they are what determine how I'm going to continue with my future moving forward. And so far, so good. And I do not regret the choices, the changes that I have made. Set goals, write down your desired goals, and set out to achieve them. Break down your goals into smaller, accomplished steps and set yourself up for success. I want to use this example for the people, for those of us who went through the Kenyan education system, specifically for my listeners who went through the Kenyan education system, because I cannot speak on the other education system. For my people who went through the Kenyan education system, specifically boarding school, I don't know if it was only in my school, so disclaimer, we used to have this thing where we would, um, whenever we opened school, we would, especially for the core subjects like mathematics, sciences, and geography, because I did geography. We used to have this thing where you would write down what is your expected grade in the first card, what's your expected grade in the second card, and then what is your expected grade in your third exam, which is the end of term exam, and how is this going to average out to mark that this is what you achieved in that term. So that is an example. Okay, if you want to average at a B plus, then you would have to break down. Okay, so most of the time the first cut used to be the easiest because you're fresh from school, you still haven't covered most of the syllabus, and 90% of the work is going to be covered, will be from the previous class. So at that time we used to have high scores in the first cut, and then the second cut you kind of put it at a balance, and then the third cut, when you have secured yourself in the first cut and the second cut, you really do not have to worry about the third exam, which was the main exam. And that's an example of, that is how you can make it. Set your realistic goals, set realistic time frames. If you want to maybe start saving and have 50 Gs by the end of this month that are remaining, set a realistic goal. Are you going to save on a weekly basis? Are you going to save on a monthly basis? Are you going to save on a daily basis? And if once you've decided on what basis, how much are you going to be saving? What are the things that you're going to cut out of your budget in order for you to achieve this? So set goals, write down your desired goals. And there is a certain power that comes with writing down things. Writing, and I'm saying this because I do this. There's a certain power that comes with writing down things, even something as simple as your thoughts. What are you thinking in that moment? How is that making you feel? There is a certain power that comes with it that you need, dear listeners, you need to experience that. You need to put yourself in that situation. Write down your goals. When it's the end of the month or the beginning of a new month, look at what you wrote down. Tick off the things that you achieved. If you didn't manage to tick off everything on your list, don't beat yourself about it. Reflect on why weren't you able to achieve that? And the reasons that you were not able to achieve that, is that, are those things that you caused, or are they things that just happened? Because if they just happen, then it means that it's most likely not within your control. And so you need to do that and identify. And are you going to carry these goals going forward that you didn't achieve, or are you done with them? Decide. There is a power in writing down. That one, take it from me. There is a power in writing down. Embrace the discomfort and change that comes as part of the process. We all have this thing. I don't know if it's all of us, but for the people who I have interacted, no, not all of us, because I haven't gone through it, where we realized that in our group of friends, there are probably certain friends who don't serve your purpose anymore, or who you feel like you have outgrown. Okay. And you want to take them out of your life. It's uncomfortable because these are people who you probably have memories with and you have these bonds with, but you feel like that I need to move on from this. And cutting off friends has to be something that's extremely difficult, because they're probably going to be calling you over on weekends. Hey, where you at? Let's go hang out. There's this new place that's opened up. We need to go and chill. We need to go and see the place. We need to go and take some pictures. But you know that you no longer feel like they fit into your life, or you feel like you're the one who doesn't fit in their life anymore, and so you want to take yourself out. And it's a very, very uncomfortable thing from the people who I have talked about this with. And so embrace discomfort, embrace it, change. Change is inevitable. Change is not supposed to be comfortable. It it doesn't have to be discomfortable, but it also doesn't have to be comfortable. So, in however way that change manifests itself to you in your journey, you should embrace it. Seek out new perspectives through learning and exposure. The people who are around you, their energy rubs off on you. And I think I have made a podcast, or I am yet to make a podcast on energies and how people's energy affects you. If you are around people who always have a negative energy, it's likely to rub off on you. If you have people who have a positive energy, it's definitely likely to rub off on you. You're definitely going to start seeing life in a more positive outlook than in a negative outlook. Same thing, surround yourself with people who have a positive outlook in life. Meet new people, connect with people, engage with people from different walks of life. If you are in an office setup, engage with people from, because in an office setup we all come from different walks of life. There are people who come from the comfortable side of life, there are people who come from the hustling and extreme hustling side of life, and the people who come from the middle ground. Engage with these people, get to understand how they view life, the things that matter to them, understand their perspective of everything. This exposure makes you learn a lot of things. And for me, I pride myself in the fact that I engage with so many different people. I engage with psychologists, I engage with people I'm with in the same field, and they're probably a rank or two ranks higher than me. I engage with people who I am with on the same rank level. I engage with people who are maybe below me. And it gives me a different feel of how we view life, of how we view challenges that someone is likely to face. Yeah, so engage with people. Okay. So, how are you going to overcome challenges that are likely to come with this mentality shift? Embrace growth. Have that growth mindset. I am growing. I am growing. I am growing. I am growing for the better. I am growing to be a better person. Seek support and mentorship. As I have said, seek out new perspectives through learning and exposure. Seek out support and mentorship. Focus on solutions and not problems. That is the point of have a positive mentality. Have view life from a positive perspective, from a positive point of view, and you're likely to view more of in terms of how do I solve this than okay, a problem has happened. Now what? Develop adaptability. With change comes another new identity. You should be able to adopt that. For example, if you move from estate A to estate B, and maybe estate B kind of has a more elevated type of lifestyle from estate A, you're definitely going to have to adapt to what people in estate B are now doing. If there are people who are buying their products in bulk, you're probably going to have to start embracing that. As the old saying goes, when you go to Rome, do what the Romans do. Develop adaptability. Celebrate your victories. Oh my God, I love this point. And I feel like it needs to always be said. Celebrate your wins. You went for an interview, you passed phase one, you go to phase two, and maybe you didn't proceed from phase two to phase three. Celebrate the fact that you wowed them in phase one and you moved to phase two. Celebrate that aspect. Celebrate the aspect that, I've been able to change something, and celebrate it. Celebrate your small wins. You did something at work and people clapped for you. Celebrate that. Stay curious and keep learning. Stay curious and keep learning. Never get comfortable. Never ever in your life should you get comfortable. Because once you get comfortable, it means you no longer have curiosity, you no longer have the drive to want to know something, to want to grow. So always stay curious, especially when you're young. Like if you're 70 and you're no longer curious, like nobody cares. But if you're in your 20s and your 30s, 40s, and you don't have curiosity, like what drives you? I feel like curiosity drives people, you know? It's like if you're at work and maybe you've been in a position for 5 years and you feel like you have mastered everything that there is to master at that level of your employment, it's your curiosity to want to move to another level that is going to keep driving you to want to move on to a different rank. Reflect and realign. Write down your goals, write, tick off your achievements, reflect on them. Whatever you've not achieved, realign. If you achieved something and maybe you don't like it, realign. So that's it for today's episode. I know this episode sounded more like a lecture than a discussion, but it is a discussion. Be sure to share out your pointers. Tell me what you think about the episode. And yeah,